Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk today a little bit about electronic warfare. Um, I had a friend years ago who was an electronics warfare specialist in one of the super secret spooky agencies, and we were at opposite ends of the spectrum on things. We got a kick out of that. He I told him that he was like Star Wars, and he told me that everybody thought that I was a throwback to the old days of six guns and stuff like that, and we were both right. Um, he We thought differently. We could talk for hours and not understand much about what the other was saying, at least having getting a personal grip on it. But I found what he talked about fascinating. I think he found me fascinating too. It was kind of like looking into a history book in his eyes, probably. Um, but but I found what he talked about fascinating, and I knew that it was the way of the future and all, and I knew that my way was going away fast, and that's too bad. But I'm still a throwback. I've held on to the old ways. I'm not a tech guy. They I kind of looked at those guys as nerds, and they were. But I'm sure that I'm whatever it was they thought of me too. Um, I hear a lot of people have talked about uh, staying off of social media. And I agree with that. I am not up on this stuff. As you all know, I am barely able to put these things up on YouTube. That's the limit of my interest in technology. But I had a lot of people, trying to get me. They said you ought to get on, YouTube. You ought to get on, and I did, obviously. You ought to get on Facebook, and I fought against that for a long time. But I had some good friends, some people that I respect that went on Facebook, so I did. And I've heard a lot of people talk against this stuff. Stay off of Facebook. It's fake book. It's, nothing but they're getting all your information, and stay off of Twitter and stay off of this and stay off of that. And totally remove yourself from this. Well, I have come to think a little bit differently about this. Once I got onto Facebook, and I'm not on there very much, I realized that people are not just using it for, to share pictures of kittens and to lie about how wonderful their lives are, or to promote, left wing ideology. But there are a lot of people on there that I have found to be very interesting. There are a lot of people on there, first out, using it to promote those kinds of positions and values and principles that we believe in. There are a lot of people out there using it actively, and I would say aggressively, to promote that. There are people out there supporting each other in that. So I think that in a way, uh, it has done a lot of good. Um, we can look over and say what would Trump have done without Twitter? And there will be those who say, well, he got himself in a lot of trouble on Twitter. Yeah, well, he got his point across. He got his message out to the people that never would have gotten out through the filters of the mainstream media. Okay, so he used Twitter very effectively. And I've come to find that others, now I don't, but I've come to find that others have as well. And there are friends of mine who encourage me to get on Twitter and Instagram and whatever these other things are. I know that there's a whole new bunch of them. Is it Gab? Is it? I don't even know. I've tried to put a couple up on Rumble, and I think they're up there. I don't know. I haven't gotten that figured out yet. And to be honest, I don't really have a lot of time to try to figure this stuff up. So I turn it over to my son and say, okay, when you got this figured up, you let me know. Uh, but I realize that these and I'm being drug along, like I always have to be, into the present, let alone looking at the future. And I realize that these things are being used for positive purposes. So I think we need to participate in this. If we say that we're not going to be a part of this, if we're not going to participate in any of these platforms, that's just leaving the field of battle. That's leaving it completely up to the opposition. Why would we do that? You know, you don't do that with a football game or a fight or anything else. If you think that you can have an effect, and I've come to see that there are positive effects on these things. So I disagree with the people that say that we should stay off of these platforms. Now, if better platforms come along, then good, we can be on those too. But to totally, abdicate from these platforms that are giving us the ability to promote our ideas, I think is a massive mistake. Here we are. You're watching me now on YouTube. It didn't cost me anything to put this up except for the cost of the phone. There are plenty of guys out there who have thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They're able to get their message out, with essentially no cost to them except their equipment and their time. And of course, most of them have much better editing than I do, which is none. Um, but they're able to do this on a platform that they didn't build. I know that sounds like Obama, right? Uh, and I think that's good. What's wrong with that? People will say, "Well, they're censoring us. They're censoring us." My wife Kelly got kicked off of a forum the other day. Um, well, put in jail for a short period of time because it's a women's preparedness site group, whatever. You see, I don't even know the proper terms. And somebody had asked for if anybody had a good idea for survival books, preparedness books, that were family friendly, didn't have a lot of profanity and such as that. And so Kelly went right on and said, "Well, my husband has written a whole series of these," and she mentioned the Stonemont series, and says they're great books. People love them. They've sold thousands, tens of thousands across the world. People seem to like and love them. They don't have any profanity in them. There's a lot of good lessons and a great story. And, she went on and on like, a good wife. And she said, um, and she mentioned also that a lot of families have written and said that they use them for family reading and preparedness and stuff like that. And then she made the mistake. She put the Amazon link down to the bottom there, and of course they jerked it and wrote her a little note about being bad, and she was in jail until the next day, and now she got back up. Well, my point on this is that all of these, there are a lot of things that I'm careful that I don't say on here. And there are times that when people get a little bit too close to the edge in my comments, I'll remove the comments because it's simply a matter of learning the rules and then operating within the rules to get your message out. That's control. I get it, but it's not, well, you can call it censorship if you want. I don't because I didn't build a platform, they did. And so if I want to participate, it's kind of like going into a restaurant. If I want to go into a restaurant and eat their food and sit down and all that, well, I need to conduct myself properly. I need to dress properly and all that, and I'll be okay. And it's the same here. And so I think that those who are saying we just need to stay off of these platforms because they censor us, I think it's a matter of being smarter. Use the platforms. Stay within the guidelines. Kelly went back the next day and reposted it, without the link, and it stayed up. And so she was able to tell them how to find my books on Amazon, and it stayed up. So it's simply a matter of know the rules, get it out there, and then use the system for your purpose. This is a major battle that we're in. We're in a battle for our country as well as simply helping each other, learn to be prepared and such as that. And to not use a major um, weapon that has been provided to us, I think is just foolishness. And I think the talk about this is a little misguided. I won't say that the people who complain about it are foolish, but I'll say that stepping back a little bit and saying, there are ways that you can say things, and there are ways that you can say things. And I think I've talked about this before, having to do with organized crime and prison populations and all sorts of things. You can get your message across just fine saying things a certain way. And that's how we have to do it. This really is electronic warfare. Using this, we're able to reach audiences that we could never reach without this. We're able to get our point across. We are able to persuade. We're able to draw people to us or to put doubt in the minds of those in the opposition. And that's all a part of the situation, right? We want to have the greatest influence that we can. And these different social media platforms allow us to do that. Will there be others come up that are as good or better? Well, maybe, I don't know. And if they do, we should use them also, not necessarily instead. So that's just what I wanted to put out there. I think that the idea that all of these companies and platforms, they may stand for things that we don't agree with. They may give their money to things they don't agree with. But they are also providing us an opportunity to promote our side. And I think that's extremely important and not something to be denigrated. So accept this as an aspect of electronic warfare and develop your ability in it. I should develop my ability more myself, and I need to, and I will. So you all do that. Think about that when you leave your comments. Think about that in supporting channels. Support the channels. Please, subscribe, give a thumbs up, make a comment, an appropriate comment. And share these things with as many people as you can, because that's all a part of what we're trying to accomplish here. And just because I'm an old dinosaur, who was more Neanderthal than Star Wars, I need to become a better electronic warrior, and so do you. So I think that falls into what we always say, and that is we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So preparing by learning more about how to use these electronic measures, I think is an important part of ensuring a better tomorrow for all of us. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.